Have you ever said something or assumed something that turned out to be completely wrong because you didn't have the full picture? The classic example is asking a woman if she's pregnant and she's not. Or what about assuming that the guy flying down the shoulder in traffic is an absolute a-hole when he's actually driving his pregnant wife to the hospital? Chances are pretty high that it's just an a-hole, but you never know. Point being, context matters. And unless you have the full picture of a situation, it's easy to jump to conclusions. Now you're probably wondering, what does this have to do with a deck? Well, when I initially built this deck, nobody seemed to really have issues with how I was building it. At least initially. Nobody seemed to take exception with how I set the ledger board, and many of you were even satisfied with how I waterproofed it, which is surprising since I feel like everyone flashes their ledger board a little bit differently. Nobody had problems with how I set the posts either. But everything started to go downhill when I started setting the deck beams. The first deck beam was okay, no issues there, but when I went to install the second deck beam, people started typing. It started out with just, the typical overbuilt comments, but when I set the third beam, people lost their minds. And listen, I get it. Without knowing what's going on top of this deck, this 100% seems like overkill, and even the universe was trying to tell me that this fourth beam was not necessary. But if you think I'm backing down at this point after already cutting the posts, you got another thing coming. So beam number 4, you're going in. Now, like I said, if this was a regular old deck, I would totally agree that having this many beams is absolutely ridiculous. But as I said in the beginning of the video, context matters, and there's a reason I built the deck like this. I am going to be putting something extremely heavy in this back right corner of the deck. And you're probably asking yourself, what could possibly be heavy enough to require this many beams and posts? And although a yo mama joke would be perfect right here, we've already made some references to overweight women in the beginning of the video, so I'm gonna pass. Instead, I'm gonna show you the real reason. So now that you understand that a 5,000 pound spa is going right here on the back of the deck, you can understand that I basically had two choices. One, I could overbuild the deck and people could call me an idiot, or I could underbuild it and then I'd never be able to relax in the spa because all I'd be thinking about is... So I overbuilt it. 9 posts, 3 beams, 12-inch on-center joist spacing, all directly beneath the spa. But that takes us to the second part of the project that people didn't initially understand, and it's hiding in plain sight directly underneath these composite decking boards. So I almost forgot about this, but at some point in the future, I think I'm gonna do some kind of like enclosed patio somewhere over here, because the mosquitoes are so bad. There, literally as we speak. So I figured if I'm gonna do something enclosed, that I should probably put some kind of screen up so that the mosquitoes can't come up from underneath in between the gaps in the decking board. So I guess here's the deal. If you see someone putting up a screen underneath their enclosed porch, one of two things is probably true. One, they're just a complete wuss when it comes to insects or mosquitoes, or the bugs are really bad. So I'll let you decide which category you think this falls into. And who knows, maybe this is overkill, but I figured if I'm gonna screen in a porch, I would feel like an absolute idiot if an army of mosquitoes kept coming up through the boards. Now for the screened-in porch, I was initially thinking some kind of like wooden pergola / trellis, and I got far enough in the planning where I actually modeled it in SketchUp, but here's the deal. Number one is that it would be challenging and potentially unsightly to try and screen in the sides and top of a wooden pergola to the point that it's completely mosquito-proof. And the second issue is related to privacy. Now listen, I love my neighbors as much as the next guy.
Hi, neighbor. I'm glad we're together again.
But I'm not trying to feel like an aquatic zoo exhibit every time I'm using the spa on the deck. So option 1 is a custom wooden pergola, but I think we can do something a little bit better. But in the meantime, let's get the spa installed. This is the Hot Spring Envoy Spa, and I called in some backup to get this thing to my deck. And this weird little mush sled seemed a bit odd as the transportation method in 2026, but hey, they're the pros, and that's what we're doing. And this is the part where I got scared it was going to flip over, so I threw the phone down and helped.
Oh, yeah. No, I saw I hit that little hump right there.
And we all know somebody who literally does nothing but still tries to get all the credit. Literally the worst type of people. But before we can actually fill the tub with water, we gotta hook up the electrical. And although I do a lot of 120 volt electrical work, I usually try to leave the 240 volt and the complicated stuff to the pros, especially when the conductors look like this. I'm gonna pass. But the electrical install for pretty much every hot tub is gonna be the same. Someone is going to need to install a disconnect switch on the exterior of the home near the tub, and from that disconnect switch, you're gonna have to run the conductors, usually through some kind of PVC conduit, from the panel to the tub. When we get to the end of the deck, we're gonna transition from the hard PVC to flex tube, and this is the connection point to the tub. After dry fitting, it's time to pull the cables through. And if you want to know if an electrician is paid by the hour or the job, just watch how they fish the cable. Here's a look at all the conductors neatly placed before they're taped together and attached to the fish stick and then pulled through the conduit. One guy feeds it through on one end and the other pulls it through on the other. Here's a look at the cable coming through the end of the conduit, and now we just have to make that final connection to the tub. And I say we because I was helping. And they're at the home stretch here, making the final fitting connections to go from the PVC hard conduit to the flex tube. And now we just need to get the conductors into the tub. As you can see here, we're threading in the tub inlet, and it actually comes through this Smurf tube in the tub, which is actually pretty convenient. They trusted me enough to pull the conductors through and confirm that we had enough slack, and they even let me feed it into the panel before I left them to it to wire everything up. And although I'm sure I could have figured this out if I watched enough YouTube videos, I was happy to leave this part to the professionals. All right, it's finally time to fill up the tub, and I'm gonna fill it through the filter compartment right here. And while this thing was filling up, I decided that a screened-in wooden pergola would look a little bit too much like a chicken coop, so I'm going with option 2. Option 2 is a prefabricated pergola structure, and I think it's going to work better for two main reasons. The first reason is that the roof is actually louvered, so when it's a nice sunny day, you can open them up and enjoy the sun, and if it's raining or snowing or something, you can close it down, and it's completely weather tight. And although the assembly is easy, this is a 10 by 20 pergola, so it just takes a little bit of time. There's this bar up here that connects all the louvers together, and that then gets connected to this lever arm, which is actuated by this hand bar right here. And after power washing all of this pollen off, this is going to be pretty sweet. And you definitely want to make sure that you anchor all the posts into some secure blocking, otherwise your neighbor might end up with this new pergola. So the louvers are great for weather protection, but we still have a privacy and a mosquito issue. And I feel like there are so many different pergola manufacturers these days. I think you can also get one from Costco, but this pergola is from the company Mirador, and they have this privacy screen accessory, which is going to solve both the privacy issue and the mosquito issue in one step. So obviously the pro of this option as compared to a wooden pergola that you would build yourself is functionality. The louvered top is perfect for any weather, and these screens are great for both privacy and for mosquito proofing this whole section of the deck. And I'm installing the sliding door accessory here because I think it's going to be easier than lifting a screen every time you want to enter while keeping it mosquito proof. So if functionality is the pro, cost is going to be the con. Obviously, this is going to be more expensive than building a wooden pergola, especially if you're needing to buy an accessory for each side to the point that you're trying to make it mosquito proof. But this upcoming ASMR needs silence. And I was a little bit worried about the maintenance that would be needed for this spa, but this hot spring tub comes with a smart water IQ system where if there's an issue or the water needs attention, you'll get a little yellow ring around the logo. It'll tell you exactly what to do, and you just got to do it. Now, for my last deck, I actually built the outdoor sectional sofa from scratch using some spare 2x4s, and I actually put together some free plans if you want to learn how to build one. And although I may end up building a couch for the area under the pergola across from the tub, I did decide to go with the Mirador Mezza 7-piece dining set for the dining table, just because ain't nobody got time to build 6 chairs and a table. But honestly, due to the mosquitoes, I think outdoor dining is going to be more of a fall and spring activity, because I don't think anybody's going to be able to stand it during the summer. And you might be thinking that I'm done with this deck, but I still have one more deck project up my sleeve, which I think is going to be pretty cool. Now, let's take a quick reminder look at where this project started, and here's a look at the final result. And even though there's a 5,000-pound hot tub on this deck, I probably still overbuilt it. But when it comes to something like this, I feel like it's better to err on the side of caution. So you might think I'm crazy for 9 posts and 4 beams, but at least now you know why I did it. Thanks so much for watching, and God bless.